Alrighty, with this video, I want to go over the schedule real quickly and the MLA medical essay real quickly, and then show you how to use the Northeast State databases. You'll need to be able to use those for journal number 8 and for that working bibliography that's coming due next Friday. I'm doing this video on Monday, March 9th, so hopefully you're getting ready to have a good spring break. At least, if nothing else, get a little rest and kind of take a maybe I'll take a breath and get ready for the last half of the semester. But when you come back on Monday, journals 7 through 9 are due, and we'll be working on topics for your MLA medical essay. I'll ask you to send your topics in, and I'll offer some suggestions about probably how to narrow that down. This is one problem with this essay. It's easy to get into a topic that's so big that you can't really provide good information on it, and it just either starts to turn into your first book, or it's just so general that it's not effective. So we want to avoid that. We'll work with the working bibliography, showing where your research is coming from, getting your works cited page done ahead of time before you start writing. That's always nice. And then we'll start working on the essay itself. And you can see the draft's coming due to Ms. McNeese on April 2nd. Final version on Monday, April 6th. Hard to believe we're almost in April here. For the essay, but you can kind of see, after that we got the song analysis, and working towards the end of the semester, right? There's light at the end of the tunnel. But we got work to do. For the MLA medical essay, you're going to write a 1,250 word minimum narrative research essay on a medical topic. What that means is you're going to tell someone's story and put the research into that story. So if you say, well, I'm going to do brain cancer, I'm like, well, who do you know who's had brain cancer? And you're like, no one. You can't really write about it because you're not going to be able to tell someone's story, right? So make sure you're kind of thinking about that. Whose story do you want to tell? Make sure they want to talk about it. It might work better if you want to talk about yourself. It's easy to interview yourself, right? But it's kind of up to you. Also, this isn't private. I'm going to read it. You're going to post it on your e-portfolio. So make sure you want to talk about it, or the other person doesn't mind you talking about it. But about half the essay should be at least the story, or probably over half. Then the other half is going to be the research. So it makes it a lot more interesting. When you read that sample essay for Journal 7, you're going to see she's talking about Alzheimer's and dementia, but she puts it in terms of her own grandmother's experience and her experience, and it makes it a much more powerful, effective essay. So instead of some boring essay on Alzheimer's that I might have read 1,000 of. Every story is different. Makes every essay interesting. Kind of makes it your own, right? Some basic requirements. Hopefully you're avoiding the 3-point thesis. We're going to be on that 5-paragraph format. You need to use at least 3 authoritative sources. I want you to try to use them from the Northeast State databases. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on your topic. If you have something really specific and it's kind of rare, the databases may not have much on it. You may have to go to some other sources, and that's fine. But just kind of avoid Wikipedia or Billy Bob's lung cancer and auto repair shop site or something like that. Billy Bob may be a Harvard medical professor and maybe a good site, but well, be careful. We'll make sure you use authoritative sources, who wrote them, and they're peer-reviewed. They're good sources. You need to use at least 2 images in your essay. Those can be very effective if you're talking about like an ACL tear. And keep in mind, it doesn't have to be a life or death medical experience. I've had good ones on peanut allergies, on teen acne. Had a good one on teen acne, actually. And all kinds of different non-life-threatening conditions. ACL tears is another one. But if you're going to talk about like an ACL tear, don't spend 5 paragraphs describing a kneecap to me or a knee to me. Give me an image and draw an arrow, say this is your ACL. Then maybe another image and say here's what it looks like when it's torn. You can do images of surgery. You can do all kinds of interesting stuff. You can have, if your main point is, my Uncle Joe survived lung cancer and lived to tell the tale, you might have a picture of him, showing, what he looks like after his ordeal. But it's kind of up to you. Those don't count. The sources for your images don't count as your 3 authoritative sources. But kind of use those images, to make an effective essay. You have to have all the long quotes, short quotes, summary, paraphrase, all the fun punctuation, some figurative language. You'll probably do that naturally as you go through the essay. And you're going to try and avoid you. You might use you as a hook in the first paragraph, but after that, you're not telling my story. You're telling the story of the person you're talking about or yourself, right? Don't use it. So you'll see in that sample essay, she kind of starts off saying, have you ever lost your keys? Have you ever done this? And of course the reader's going like, yeah. Well, it doesn't mean you have dementia, but that's how my grandmother started, and it led into these problems. And it makes for a very effective essay. Kind of pulls the reader in there. And keep in mind that this is very much going to be at least part process essay. Every illness has kind of that. I was happy, healthy, and normal. Then you started developing symptoms. Symptoms probably got worse, so you went to the doctor. The doctor diagnosed you with something. Maybe you got misdiagnosed or whatever. So the diagnosing stage can be kind of complicated. Then you get treatment. The treatments work or they don't. They try other treatments. And it's this process, and if sometimes treatments work and you're cured, sometimes the treatments don't work and you don't get cured. Some diseases, the process doesn't end well. Something like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, we're still struggling to find ways to cure those things. So kind of think about what you want to write about. It may take you 2 or 3 topics to get to the one you're really going to work with on this essay. Sometimes students pick a recent death or something, and that can be kind of hard. You still have all those emotions. You might not just really want to talk about it. This is a Comp 1 class, not a therapy class. Other students use it as therapy and talk about some pretty rough topics. But it's up to you. Like I said, when we come back from spring break, we'll look at a few topics, make sure we narrow those down to something you can write a good short essay on. And again, the essays don't feel short when you're writing, but if you start getting all that research into it, you don't want to start writing your first book or anything, which is one of the dangers of this essay. But start thinking about that. Where am I going? Here we go. To get to the Northeast State databases, and databases are just online collections of articles of various types. Some of them good, some of them maybe a little more popular, but we want to find good sources, ones that are peer-reviewed, authoritative, and I'm going to show you some good sources for that. Let's go to the Students tab. Again, you should be on the Northeast State homepage. You should have a picture of our buildings or a student saying, you belong here, which of course you do. But we're going to go down from the Students tab to the library. And we're going to go over to online databases. You can see the little tabs here. We're going to go to online databases. And we're going to go, there's 112 of these. You can spend the rest of your life trying to read through all these. We're going to go to H. And we're going to go to Health and Wellness down here, the second one. This is a database designed for high school and college students writing essays on medical topics, which is you, right? Sometimes like that first one, the Health and Medicine, those are doctors writing to doctors, and you're going to get, well, at least I would get lost pretty quickly with those, with the medicalese going through the thing. They know what they're talking about, but that's a little beyond my level. So we want to kind of use this Health and Wellness, generally written more for the laymen, or lay persons, I guess. But once you're here, one thing that might happen if you're off campus, you may have to type in your username and password. I didn't have to because I'm here in my office on campus here. Hopefully nobody has the coronavirus yet, so you can't use that as a topic. But we're going to go over down here to diseases and conditions. And you'll see various links to some of the more common problems people might have. We'll come down here to lung cancer, just pick something. No, I don't want to give feedback. So you'll kind of see what they have here. 94 reference articles. 22,333 magazine articles. You're going to find a lot of stuff. But one thing that's nice about this database, it does kind of have an overview of the disease. This is where you might be getting quite a bit of your information. And what you'll see with the databases is kind of nice. Talks about the different types of lung cancer. And again, when you start thinking about your condition, you got to find the specific name for it and what stage and all that kind of stuff. But you're going to see the different types, the causes and risk factors, the symptoms. And as you start writing, you're going to start comparing the symptoms of you or the person you're talking about to what the data says, right? Some people have more symptoms than others. Sometimes a condition may not have symptoms. An ACL tear generally doesn't have symptoms. You jumped up for the soccer ball, you landed funny on your knee, and pop, and down you went, right? So it's not really any symptoms. You might be focusing more on diagnosis and therapy and things like that in your essay. They talk about the treatments, survival rates and outlook, things like that. Then they're going to see, they give you more information down here, or more sources you can go to, which is kind of nice. And the neat thing is that they also show you how to do the works cited page entry. And this is what I want you to do for Journal 8. You can just come here and copy it, or you can download it. You can do all kinds of things. If you want to start, if you find yourself using APA, you can switch it to APA formatting. It's pretty cool down here. So it's nice it has the citation generators and makes it easy to do your works cited page and your working bibliography, or your annotated bibliography there. And all I want you to do for Journal 8 is find one source like this, copy that thing, put it into your journal entry, and do that for two more possible things here on the databases. But you can kind of see the databases are kind of neat. By the way, that TELD, the Tennessee Electronic Library, that's your tax dollars at work. If you, for some of you, it's been a while since high school, it's the same ones the local high schools use. You can go back to those references. You can go to these different, Care Notes is another good database. A little harder to read, but some very interesting information there. They're all peer-reviewed. It's kind of nice. So kind of once you kind of play around with the databases for Journal number 8, you also go do the same thing for that annotated bibliography that's due a week from Friday. And for that, you're just going to list 7 sources that you're researching. And if you're not going to use it in your essay, put it on the annotated bibliography. And you'll just write a 35 to 50 word blurb about what the source says. But that's how you get into the databases, and that's what we're looking forward to for the next essay. Again, hopefully you're going to start landing on topics you're kind of interested in and want to write about. But there are some warnings. Make sure you don't write about somebody who died 50 years ago and you can't interview and you don't have direct information about it. Again, make sure the person wants to talk about it. If you're going to talk about yourself, make sure you want to talk about it. But hopefully you're going to find something that interests you. And write a good essay. That's the goal. But again, hope you're having a good spring break. We'll see you after spring break as the journals come due and we start working with the topics. We'll talk to you later. Make sure I'm the right thing. Yeah, there we go. Bye-bye.